day, everyone. How are you on a now beautiful, beautiful day? And so before we get going, I definitely want to kind of take pause and give some reflection and some prayer to all of those that were in the eye of Ida, all the way across from the west, all the way up into the northeast. And I know probably every single one of us, at least in the States, we know somebody in that path. And to put it to someone from Louisiana, in his words, he said, this made Katrina look like a dance. Ida was horrific. And I am just getting into, because as many of you know, I have a very large family up in Philadelphia and they're all there. And if not Philadelphia, Delaware. And I'm just now getting pictures and videos and texts all morning in regards to just the destruction that even Philly, the city of Philly, is going through. My goddaughter is a PA, a medical PA, and it took her 3 hours to get in from pretty much a 20-minute drive. It took her 3 hours to get in. So please, 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 everyone, be safe out there. Reach out should you need help. Please let people know, check in on Facebook, do whatever to let people know that you are safe. And just know that, many of us are praying for you and hoping that you heal fast and you recover fast. And we're looking for ways that we can be able to support you. So prayers to all of you. Now, on a happier note, okay, on a happier note, it is, at least for those of us in the States, it is the Thursday before a long weekend, a long holiday weekend. So happy Labor Day to everybody. I will be taking off for the beach. I'm so excited. I will be taking off for the beach, but it's a good segue. And segue from that discussion of being in the beach, but it's a good preface for then going off to a long holiday when it comes to accountability. And this subject actually smacked me right in the face just this morning. Now, I thought about this discussion for today, and I reached out to you within our Powerhouse Mavericks and actually over on our Shift to Riches page as well. About what do you deal with when it comes to accountability? And, but more so it started because I had a big corporate project last week, a workshop last week for a whole team of people all around accountability and the challenges and struggles that they have working as a team when it comes to being accountable, not only to themselves, but to each other. Well, then I gave thought because as you know, many of us coaches, and obviously myself, a good part of what it is that we do with our clients is being an accountability partner, is helping them really be accountable to themselves and to the work that they do and to the goals that they have and to the clients that they have. And yet it hit me as well that there's times when we just get in our own way when it comes to even understanding what accountability is. So I actually posted this morning. I said, hey, prior to our discussion today, let me know what you think accountability is. And we got comments in regards to accountability as results. We got comments that accountability is taking responsibility for your actions. And I want you to keep them coming. And if you are, able to be here live, then also leave comments with me as to what do you think accountability is. Because as entrepreneurs, as business owners, as people who are responsible for making money, we get in our own way when it comes to doing the work that we're supposed to be doing in order to get the business that we want. And a large part of that is accountability. So let me share with you what happened this morning and my test of being accountable. So many of you participated in Chris Hunt's real-time tapping session last week. And it was so popular that she's going to release it again, but yet modified. And so I was helping her. And so we started talking at the beginning of the week that I would help her with that. And we made a schedule to do that this morning at 10 o'clock. And part of it had to do with re-recording, or actually just recording and adding and enhancing parts of the workshop. And so we talked every day this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and now it's going to be Thursday morning, and we arranged 10 o'clock. So there I was, right on time for our, we're part of a mastermind together, on the mastermind call at 10 o'clock with my hair pulled back, a fitness top on, and somewhat disheveled because of a situation that I was taking care of earlier in the day. And so all of a sudden I see her, in her, glorious wonder. And she looked so beautiful, and, and she was made up and all this. And all of a sudden it hit me. And I was like, oh my God, we're supposed to be recording right now at 10 o'clock. And I thought to myself, oh my God, how did I screw up so bad? And that I would have forgotten that. And I could have, now I did explain to her what had happened, but I certainly weren't using it as an excuse, because I was there, and yet I totally flaked even at that moment in time. So it wasn't even like I remembered and then I'm trying to work my way out of it with excuses when I met up with her at 10 o'clock. And I felt just absolutely horrible. But more importantly, accountability and being responsible is not punishment, and which was a big discussion that I had with this team last week. Being accountable, whether that's to yourself, whether that's to family members, to friends, to loved ones, to business associates, even to your coach. I deal with this all the time, that, the one thing my clients kind of roll their eyes at and get frustrated over is, yes, I am going to ask you about the plan that you put into place for yourself and the actions you said that you were going to do. And I am going to ask you whether or not you completed, those, activities, which was going to get you the result that you also planned that you wanted to have for that particular week or particular month. And yet I know, because I've had I had a coach for 10 years, and I'm still looking for, my next powerhouse coach. But I had a coach for 10 years. And so I know that at times you're just like, oh, come on. I don't want to, I don't want to be held accountable. I don't want to have to say that, yes, I planned something and I didn't plan, or I didn't do it. And then I have to kind of explain why. But yet, gosh, it is the foundation of who we are as people. Accountability isn't something that all of a sudden, it happens because, in this case, you have a business. Accountability starts the minute you're born. You're accountable to not only, well, let's start with yourself, but if you want to take yourself out of the equation, you're accountable to your parents, then you're accountable to teachers, then you're accountable to babysitters, and then you're accountable to coaches, and then like sports coaches, and then you're accountable to bosses, and then you're accountable to even your employees. And if you then do have your own business, you're accountable to your employees, your vendors, your partners, and to yourself. But you may choose to recognize that you definitely need help with your accountability. So you say, okay, so I want a coach, and then you're accountable to your coach. But your coach isn't looking at it, and this is coming from me. I wouldn't be looking at it as, you're accountable to, do the work that you're doing, because that's what we worked on, and that's what I was a part of. That's not what I would be holding you accountable to. I would be holding you accountable to, you made plans that you wanted to take action on, that you wanted to accomplish, that you have a goal around, that you have a dream around. And therefore, my job is to ensure that you're always being accountable to you, right? Now, where you might be accountable to me is, even in my own onboarding of my clients, I set the expectations of what I expect from my clients, and part of that is, you show up, you're on time, you notify me proactively if there's a conflict, so forth and so on. And so that is one area that I would be holding someone accountable as a coach. But basically the accountability that your coach would be providing you, or your vendors or your employees, is just, are you taking ownership? Are you committing? Are you showing up? Are you following through? Are you meeting expectation to what it is that you're responsible for? So I'm trying to think of who it was that mentioned that accountability is being responsible for your actions. And it is being responsible for your actions. It's more so taking ownership and being accountable to your actions and your decisions without blame, deflection, with even prompting. Like, someone should not have to prompt you to take ownership for what it is you're responsible for. You should be proactively, saying, yes, I screwed up. So going back to my story with Chris. So with Chris this morning, when I all of a sudden was certainly not camera ready, and that's what I committed to for 10 o'clock this morning, I simply said to her, okay, I just need, an hour. And it just so happened that we had a 2-hour time slot. And so this was 10 o'clock. I said, okay, so why don't we do this? Let's get our piece of the mastermind going and done. And then during our working session, which is when we all kind of do our individual work that we've committed to, then I'll make sure that I get ready and everything's situated and we're ready to go at 11, and then we'll get it done. So yes, I gave her an explanation of what happened. And trust me when I say I was just so, I could be very hard on myself. I was so disappointed in myself. But yet I owned it. I didn't deflect it. I didn't blame it. I just simply owned it and said, okay, yeah, what do we do to make it right? What do we do to make it right? So part of accountability is also, recognizing that, yes, you're accountable to something. Yes, it may go great, and yet there might be hiccups. And when there's hiccups, you come proactively with solutions. And then whatever that might be, you follow through and you achieve or accomplish it. Or maybe a priority changes and your direction changes, but you're following through and being responsible and taking ownership without blame, deflection, excuses, and without just even ignoring and avoiding it. So I thought it was really important to have this conversation today. I'm sorry. I'm going to go into comments. Accountability, not being punished, and for me, not being behind. It's so important to my business and personal goals. Thanks, Joan. It really is. And thank you for telling me that that's who you are, because StreamYard will ask you to agree to let me see your name. But if you don't want to do that, that's fine too. And so thank you, Joan, if that's your comment about accountability is not punishment. And for me, not being behind. Now, okay, so I want to come back to that. Actually, that's a great prompt. And then the next comment, and let me bear with me here. I'm trying to do 5 things at once, so bear with me. Let me bring this up. Flow, passion for me is forgetting I'm in my workout gear. I try really hard not to blame myself for being in my zone while changing. That's awesome. That is awesome. Flow and passion. That is absolutely awesome. We want you to see our names. So we want you to see our names. Is someone directing that to me? Because if you want me to see your names, then you should have received in this post stream, in the beginning of the post of this live stream, a note from StreamYard, which says that you need to give them permission to let me see your name and even your profile picture. So you won't be sent to another site, I don't believe. we are not getting the offer to disclose. Oh, is that right? Oh, isn't that interesting? I wonder why. That's a newbie. I know StreamYard's been rolling out. Can't post comments to some destinations. That's not to me. I know that StreamYard has been rolling out a lot of new features, and I wonder some destinations won't get down. That's not for me. And I wonder if they change that, but there should be a note all the time that says for you to give permission. All right. So we're not going to spend time with that, but I will definitely check on that the next time, like when I'm done here, I will immediately go and check on that. So just just leave me your name then in the comments, or start your comment with, Joan, accountability not being punishment. All right. And I'll make sure that I can speak to you directly. But great comments. Thank you so much. So let me talk to this comment from Joan about accountability not being punishment, and for me, not being behind. All right. So I'd love to know, Joan, if you wanted to share why is it that you see it as punishment? Now for everybody, when that happens, it's more because, it could be two-sided. So for the person who's feeling like accountability is punishment, I would have you think about kind of finding evidence of that, of you being punished for not doing what it is that you signed up to do by a third party, not by yourself. That's a whole different thing that I'll get to in a second, but by somebody else. Go back, even if it's to childhood. Trust me, go back, even if it's to childhood, to really consider, okay, so why do I have this feeling, this perception that I'm going to be punished? But more so, I want you to find evidence, because remember what I always say is fear is the acronym for fear is false evidence appearing real. So a lot of our fear is based on false evidence. Okay. Now, sometimes it could be real, but what I would want you to do as your coach is I would say to you, well, I want you to prove to yourself that this fear is real. So if you feel that you will be punished if you don't do something, and you don't do it on time or on budget, or you don't, accomplish what it is that you signed up to do, go back and really spend time thinking about when was the last time, or even the first time, but when was the last time I was punished for not doing what I was supposed to be doing? If you find that you have no evidence, that yes, maybe you were called to the carpet on it because you made a commitment and you didn't follow through on it. But punishment is a whole degree different than just having someone hold you accountable to what it is that you committed to doing. Okay. Very different. And I would want to help you and support you in really, kind of working through that. So if you don't find that it's really punishment, then I want you to tell yourself a new story around it, because it's not fair to you if you're beating yourself up and being hard on yourself and thinking that you're going to be punished for something when you actually will not be. And that is what so many of you do to yourself, is you beat yourself up when no one else would be beating yourself up for. Okay. And even if there was some occurrences or events or situations in your past, well, then it's just a matter of working to reconcile those and forgiving them, and forgive those situations, not necessarily the people, those situations, and then forgiving yourself, and then writing a new story, creating a new decision about it, coming up with a new perception of it. Because punishment is pretty harsh. Now, if being that I'm a tough love coach, I put it out there all the time to to my clients and those perspectives that come to talk with me. But what that really means is, I don't let you off the hook. I really want to understand. I want you to take ownership. I want you to be accountable. So all that is, and remember this for yourself and for others when you're going to hold other people accountable. And I can't tell you how much time I spend coaching on this. I spend a great deal of time coaching on this. And if you can master this, oh my God, will your world be so different. So what I would want you to be doing is asking questions. Okay? Is asking questions, because that's what that person that you might be, kind of fearful, I'll call it fearful of, around punishing you and holding you accountable. And me as a coach, I'm just going to ask you questions. I just want understanding. I just want you to have understanding, and I want you to own and take accountability, but be responsible. So it should just be a series of questions like, okay, so what happened? Like, okay, you committed that you were going to do X, Y, and Z, and you wanted to achieve it. You wanted to achieve 1, 2, and 3 because of 5, 6, and 7. So what happened? No judgment. No judgment, at least from a coach, you better not have any judgment. So no judgment, just what happened? What got in your way? What could you do differently? What worked? What didn't work? How, what solution did you find to work around it? What do you now need to do? What are you going to do tomorrow? It's just a series of questions. It doesn't have to be accusations and judgment, from other people to you. Okay. So let's look at that first. Other people to you. So what I said was go back and try to find where you might feel, in your past that accountability has been, comes along with punishment, because that is not what it should be in any way, shape, or form. And what I would also share with you there is, if someone judges or punishes you for being accountable, it's their problem, not yours. Because again, yes, you may have missed a date. You may have screwed up on something. You may have made a mistake. You may have, overextended yourself. You may be behind in doing something. Okay. But right now is another moment in time for you to make adjustments and move forward and to get back on track and to, solve that problem, fix that mistake, whatever the case might be. There's no reason for judgment or punishment from another party. There is a lot of reason for a lot of questions. Okay. There are, a lot of questions. So you should never be surprised if someone peppers you with questions about like why, what happened, what didn't happen, what would you do differently? You shouldn't be surprised about being kind of, inquired. Is that the word I'm looking for? It shouldn't be an inquisition, mind you, but at the same time, there might be a lot of questions. It should never be punishment. Now, but that's from a third party. Now, accountability really lies with someone or with someone themselves individually. If you can't be accountable to yourself first, then you're definitely not going to be accountable to other people. So what I would rather have you really focused on is not how someone else is going to think about whether or not you met your goal or you did what you were supposed to do or you were on time or, you were on time or on budget. That's all good for the other party and they'll be satisfied. But I'm more concerned about you being accountable to you. So let's paint that picture. How lovely. Oh, thank you, Iona. Thank you so much. I got to put that up there. Thank you, Iona. Right on. I'm guessing that might be Joan, but it might be somebody else. So I lost my train of thought for a second, but I'll come back. So let's look at you. Okay. I'm going to look at you as an individual, woman, whatever the case might be. But I'm going to look at you also as a coach, consultant, service provider, or you can let me know in the comment section, what is it you do in your business? Okay. And if you don't have a business, just let me know what is it that you do, and what's your role, what's your function, so forth and so on. So let's look at it as a individual woman, person. Being accountable. I mean, yes, simply it means being responsible for your actions and decisions, but think about it. If you can't be, I have to go, but this is great. I'm going to come back. Okay, Joan. And Joan, it'll be up in your guide section for replay should you need to get back to it. Okay. If you don't get back in time, it'll be up in the guide section on our Powerhouse Mavericks page. Have a good one. But if you come back, I'll look for you. So first, it's you as a person. All right. If you have goals and dreams, and I wish I had my vision board behind me so I can show it to you. If you have a goal or a dream, and you take that goal and dream and you map out exactly what you need to do, when you need to do it, who you need to do it with, so forth and so on. The first and only person that's going to lose out if you fail to be accountable is you. And that hurts. That actually hurts me telling you that, but that hurts. Because I would never want you to kind of fall short on you. And yet, if you're not accountable, if you're not able to say, yes, I signed up to do that, and I made a commitment to do that, and I promised to do that, and yet you didn't, or you didn't even own it. I want to touch on Joan's behind when it comes to this one as an individual. If you fall behind, you fall behind. Then you just make adjustments. Now if you fall behind and say you falling behind has great dependencies on other people, then that's really where accountability steps in, because then you just need to go, hey, I'm running behind. It's not going to happen when I told you it's going to happen. So you're going to be delayed, or you're going to be, hung up, or whatever the case might be. You're going to be late on your commitment because I'm late on mine. But this is what we're going to do. This is what I'm going to do in order to fix that. Okay. So being accountable, going back to being, it's punishment. Being accountable is not being punished. It's just, everybody gets behind. It's owning up to it and looking at it proactively. So one of the things I mentioned at the beginning of the program, for those of you jumping in, and say hi, for you jumping in, is I talked about the fact that this subject started really pinging at me because of a corporate workshop that I did with a team last week, or the week before. I think it was last week. And one of their biggest struggles is all these dependencies that they have on each other. Hi, I can't see your name, just in case you're wondering why I don't say your name back, unless you give StreamYard permission, but I'm told that link for StreamYard is not there. So if you want me to know your name and say hello to you directly, just add your name into your comment section, okay? So they were struggling with the fact that there's so many dependencies on each other. And they were viewing it as if they need to know when they need to know that other person's accountable versus themselves accountable. And I commented to them, I'm like, no, you need to focus on you being accountable, you doing what you need to do. And then they individually need to be accountable to themselves. And so going to the issue about being behind. So we ran into a similar scenario with them last week. And so I would share that if you're going to be behind, you want to look at it going, am I being behind and it's just impacting me, or am I being behind and it's impacting other people? And if it's impacting other people, and I already know I'm going to be behind, and I'm talking even bills, I'm not thinking it's all of a sudden coming to me where you could be behind. I'm talking bills. I'm talking, work activities. I'm talking maybe a social project you're doing or a social event you're pulling together. So if you know that there's dependencies, then all you need to do is go to those people and say, hey, look, this is accountability, by the way. Hey, look, I was committed to do X, Y, and Z by 1, 2, 3, and it's not going to happen. I'm running behind. But I have a solution. Now, typically people would go right into why I'm behind is 1, 2, and 3, which is fine, except a lot of times those are excuses. Those are deflections. Those are putting the blame on other people. What you need to do is you need to own that the reasons you could be behind is, I just totally overlooked doing something. I didn't plan enough time to get something done. I, totally flaked on what it was that I was doing or what I was supposed to be doing. You need to own it. So there's a big difference to give reasons where you're taking ownership and accountability, and there's reasons because you want to deflect and you want to blame and you want to make excuses. So being accountable, and in this case of being behind, you don't need to beat yourself up for being behind. Everybody at some time is behind. You just need to ensure that you're looking at it proactively. You're reaching out to the people that are going to be impacted. You're coming up with a solution of how either you're going to get back on track or what that new day or time is. And then you're going to move forward and follow through and get it done. It's that simple. So even going back to the first story about this morning with Chris and our commitment, my commitment I made to do some video recording this morning. And I showed up in fitness gear. I wasn't working out. Trust me. I wish I was, if I was going to screw up that bad. But, I just kind of owned it. I did explain the reason, but then I was like, okay, so what can we do in the time that we have to get it back on track? And we did. That's accountability. But think about it. Think about, I'm going to take away all those dependencies. I'm going to take away anybody else but yourself. Think about it, again, you individually, not holding yourself accountable to your goals and dreams. They're your goals and dreams. Nobody else's. So if you start deflecting or blaming or making excuses or ignoring or avoiding, you're only disappointing yourself. Now, when it comes to then, you individually, then like say you're working with a coach, working with me, and you come with that same blame, deflection, avoidance, ignoring. Well, then again, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions, but again, it's not hurting me. It's hurting you. Accountability partners are kind of your facilitator, your guide to being accountable. So, but it's still coming back to you and whether or not you're disappointing yourself or you're, enriching yourself, right? And who doesn't want to be enriching themselves? Now let's extend it a little bit further. Thanks, Iwana. It's an excellent topic. Thank you. So let's extend it. Say you aren't accountable to yourself and you have people around you. Could be children, could be family members, could be friends, could be colleagues, could be bosses, could be clients, could be prospective clients, could be vendors. Now there's a view of if you individually and your behavior is not being accountable and not owning and not following through and finding those solutions and overall taking accountability. Well, trust me when I say that builds a perception to that other party. You're setting an example for those children, the family members. You're setting an example for how they can trust you, how they can count on you, how they can know that they can set an expectation and you can follow through on it. So first, you're going to be disappointing yourself, but then secondly, you're going to be disappointing, if not stressing out and causing people to, lose trust or feeling as if you're not loyal to them as a result of you not being able to be accountable. Okay. So there's a ripple effect that can be devastating or it can be enriching. So for those people that do take accountability and do own up to it, and trust me when I say we're human, I'm not accountable 100% of the time. There are times where I'm just like, I need to come up with something for screwing up bad. But you would hope that it's not like a big thing. But even then, I should be able to be 100% accountable. And there's no excuse that I'm not. So I work on it every day. And I do want to stress that. Being accountable is a skill that needs to be practiced on a daily basis, like self-awareness or mindfulness or gratitude or thankfulness. I mean, it's a skill that you just need to work on every day. So make a commitment to do that. And so in this case, recognize that you being accountable builds trust, builds confidence in not only yourself, but on the people around you. It demonstrates your performance. Okay. It allows you to learn and grow, that you're accountable to the fact that, oh, okay, yeah, I don't know what I'm supposed to know, so I need to go and learn it. I'm going to grow and learn from my mistakes and from my things being behind, like Joan mentioned. Those are all opportunities to learn and grow if you take accountability for what it is that you're responsible for. Being accountable is very goal focused. I mean, that's why coaches really focus on accountability, being an accountability partner, because my clients, they have goals, and I almost wear their goals like they're mine. It's like I take on, I'm like, oh, I want them to achieve those goals. So my accountability role kind of kicks in. And I'm like, okay, so let's set expectations for each other. I use my board with sticky notes. Yes, that's a great idea as to what you need to be doing, when you need to be doing it by. Sticky boards are great. Any way for you to kind of make note of what it is that you've signed up for, you're responsible for, you've committed to, and then, what is that delivery date, due date? And we're going to talk about, some of the things that can make your life easier to be accountable. So there are just we were talking goal focused. So you being accountable is extremely results oriented and goal focused. You set a goal, you set a result you want, you set a timeline you want it. All of a sudden, it's giving you that confidence and that energy and that determination to achieve it. And then as you're accountable and you're not deflecting, you're not blaming, you're not delaying, you're not postponing, you're not even prompting for attention that you're being accountable. Then it gives you so much energy toward achieving that goal and getting those results. Take accountability out and fail to be accountable. And then all of a sudden, not only the people around you, but remember, it starts with you, but you all of a sudden get stuck. You're unclear, you're frustrated, you're overwhelmed. You're unsure of what it is that you need to be doing. All of a sudden your energy disappears because, how many times, and I used to do this quite often, and rarely anymore. How many times have you set a goal, a New Year's resolution, and then all of a sudden it's like, you wonder where that came from because you did nothing toward it, or what you did do toward it was minimal and then forgotten and then just kind of put in the back and never paid attention to again, because maybe it was hard, maybe it was scary, maybe it was too ambitious. And so you just let it go. Right. That just, causes so much drain and so much, hardship on you individually. Now think about the people around you as you're, acting out or behaving in such a way, or somebody else is, maybe not just you. Maybe you have a family member or a teammate or a friend. Really consider what your perception of them are when they can't be accountable. And so then all of a sudden, the team synergy goes down, the friend synergy, the family synergy. The performance is certainly going to take a hit. The morale is going to take a hit. Your morale is going to take a hit. And then all of a sudden, when you start paying attention to the skills that can get you to be accountable, and you're finding that trust and that confidence and that energy and that persistence and that determination and those goals, those goals being achieved and those results, being won, all of a sudden, the whole dynamic changes around you. Okay. So, you have to look at accountability as yourself, and then, with all the other dependencies around you. Because you're setting a perception. You're setting a character. You're setting up how you want, well, not that you want, but you are showing yourself to other people. Okay. Now I want you to look at one other area. Because I would say 95% of the Powerhouse Mavericks communities are coaches, consultants, or service providers. I want you to think about, and I hope this hits hard. Okay. I've been talking about the fact that coaches like myself, like you, are accountability partners for our clients. And it's a key role, a valuable role. And yet, if you can't be accountable for yourself, to yourself, and to what you have committed to and planned out and set goals around, then how in the world are you going to be accountable to your clients? Because sure, someone might be, well, yeah, I failed myself, but I'm really good with my clients. But if your clients see that you're failing for yourself, and they will, then how is that going to come off to them? It's almost like, and it's very true. People who are not touting themselves. They are coaches that are coaches for 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures and above, just like myself. And you expect that if that coach are working with 6, 7, 8 figure coaches, consultants, service providers, that they are a 6, 7, 8 figure coach coach or service provider. You would expect that they know what it is that they're doing and they have the results and they've been there, done that, right? You have that expectation. Well, so does your clients have an expectation that if you're going to hold them accountable, they're expecting that you're held accountable. And that might be, obviously, it's going to be to yourself, but that also could be that you're held accountable by you having your own coach. And I made mention that, I had a coach for 10 years. And then over the last 2 years, I've had multiple coaches. I have multiple coaches right now, but not in the same way that I had for 10 years. And that's what I continue to search for. I've been qualifying. When my coach retired after 10 years, I went and searched for someone to take her place. And I just haven't found that yet. And that's another story and another day. You can ask me about it. It's a good learning, a learning experience, whatnot. But going back to accountability. So accountability is not to be taken lightly. It's just not. And yet at the same time, I would hope someone like Joan doesn't beat herself up about it. Being behind, being late, making a mistake, screwing up, which someone might perceive as different than a mistake. That it's life. We're human. It's going to happen. Where you screw up is when you don't own it and go, yep, I missed the mark, but here's how I'm going to hit it. That's the only difference. And I'll reiterate, it definitely should not come with punishment or judgment. Now, people, especially those in corporate, working for somebody else, who even my team that I did this workshop for last week, that's one thing that they struggle with is they're like, oh my gosh, but if I don't hit my deadline, if I screw up, I'm going to be punished. I'm going to be disciplined. And I'll say to them, you're going to be inquired on why you didn't meet the commitment that you made. That's all. And it's a separate issue. And I told him, I said, it's a separate issue that we need to talk about. If the receiver of you owning your responsibility, if the receiver does not receive it and handle it appropriately, those are two different scenarios. Okay. And two different issues. So to Joan's comment about punishment, I would want to make sure it's not her perception, her fear false evidence appearing real. And if she has had experience with punishment and or judgment in the past, well, one certainly can help her, work through that. But at the same time, would want to, hey, let me, who was that person? I'll, kind of see what I can do to help and support them. Because that's their issue. That's not yours. That's not yours. The only thing you need to be focused on when it comes to accountability is your accountability. You owning and stepping up and recognizing, the accomplishment or the miss, the success or the misstep, the reward or the carrot, maybe the carrot or the stick. Well, we don't want to do that because we don't want punishment, but you got my point. So I want you as powerhouse maverick coaches, consultants, service providers, and other leaders, I want you to really own your accountability, because that'll be one thing you could check off that you could be practicing every day and then put into practice. And you could check it off as one thing that's not causing you to be stuck or overwhelmed or unsure what to do, or maybe you're just doubting yourself and insecure. There's enough things to go around where accountability shouldn't be one of them. Okay. And if you are having challenges with accountability, I do want to share with you. I had made mention over the last couple of weeks. I had made mention around our. I'm trying to read this. Around our 4-month Get Clients Accelerator. And of course, it can start at any time. And yes, we did, kick off on August 30th. But at the same time, anybody can come in at any point in time and then work forward into their 4 months. We just kind of packaged it in such a way and started it in such a way that it really focuses on you closing the year with a bang. All right. And what I tend to do very differently, very uniquely, I think, from the masses of coaches and consultants out there, is I blend one-on-one private coaching with small group coaching, because there's other one-on-ones with group coaching, but the groups are typically large groups, not small groups. So let me see. There we go. So I typically, I'm the type of person, I learned myself over the last year and a half, and this is why I have not found my next coach myself, is I have found that I need that one-on-one, but I love the group as well. I love the masterminding. I love the collaboration. And so I went looking for kind of a blend of that, what I call a hybrid. And yet I was finding still these groups were like 30, 50, 100 plus people in a group. And there was no way I was going to sit there and try to fight for attention. And so I kind of said to myself, I only want to work with small groups of people. I want them to only have to work with small groups, and then have me one-on-one. Because the other challenge I found was I could never get the experts' time. I only got the group's time. I wanted the experts one-on-one time. And so that's what I'm offering within all my programs, by the way. But in this 4-month Get Clients Accelerator, that is solely focused on you getting clients in the door and money in the bank, and giving you the tools and the strategies and the mindset that will allow you to do that, while providing you that one-on-one with me and then that group masterminding. Now, the beautiful thing about it too is, even though your groups are limited to 8 people and your group coaching sessions, again, that's pretty much one-on-one time. Your group coaching sections, the Facebook group for just this Get Clients Accelerator would have everybody in it. So even though you're only working with 8 people on certain coaching sessions, you have everybody to reach out to at any point in time within the Facebook community. And so this was something that was just recently put together and rolled out over the last several weeks. And so if you are interested and want to talk to me about it and see if it's a fit for you, and not just for accountability, as you can see, we go through the fundamentals, getting the basics in place around like who's your client, who's your market, what does your social platforms look like, what is your marketing process, Then we go through the goal setting, metrics, action plans, all of those put in place. And then, of course, we put together a get client strategy. What's working now, what's not working, what do you need to be doing differently, what do you have in place, what don't you have in place, all of those things. And then, of course, we're going to ensure that you're taking action and you're being accountable to it. Okay. And then there's a number of other structures in regards to, your initial onboarding 90-minute strategy session, where we go deep into exactly what it is that you want, what you don't want, who you are, who you aren't. I like to understand how you like to be coached and managed and communicated to, and held accountable. How do you take feedback? How do you want feedback? And why I say that is it's very different. As much as I consider myself like a tough love coach, there's some people that just need their hand held, and they need to be gently supported and gently directed and led. There's others that are just like, just give it to me the way it is. Just give it to me. And so, and a good coach needs to be able to kind of adapt to those different needs and wants, even personalities. So the one-to-one coaching calls, which are 2 per month, then you get 2 group coaching calls. So if you structure it right, you get weekly coaching toward your goals and dreams. And then we do bi-monthly training just for this group. Now, Powerhouse Mavericks is different. That training will continue, but just for this group, we would do this bi-monthly training. And then like I said, you have the private Facebook group, and then you have a workbook to work through as we go. You would have things that you need to be working on, things you want to be putting together, things you want to be kind of tracking and using templates, and creating what I always talk about is the binder, which should be running your business. Okay. And then we have a number of bonuses, and I love bonuses, but we have a number of bonuses. 911 calls. I can't tell you how instrumental these are. 911 calls means that if you have a situation that suddenly comes up between session, you can 911 me. And unless I'm with a client, I'm going to drop what I'm doing and get back to you. Unless it's the weekend, but if your 911's like 911 urgent, 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 then I would make an exception on the weekends. But typically it's Monday through Friday. You can reach out to me. Then we have hot seat coaching. Now, clients at first are like scared of it, but then they realize they love it, because what it is you come to me and you're like, okay, so I missed the group coaching session. And yes, we have a one-to-one coming up, but I really would love other people's take on this situation that I'm dealing with. And so then we would schedule a hot seat coaching session where the group and even the extended group is invited to come. You present the issue, the challenge, the question, whatever's going on. And then in a 10, 15 minute, almost like popcorn coaching, you're getting advice, you're getting suggestions, you're getting recommendations, you're getting what references, whatever the case might be. It's awesome. And it's a very quick, snappy way to get something that you need, so you can keep moving forward. Then I'm going to give you a couple of other assets of pieces of IP. I have 10 productivity success hacks for women. That is extremely popular. And it comes along with templates that you can start like incorporating so you can maximize your productivity, your focus, your clarity, your confidence. And then 10 key strategies to explode your business. And these are around prospecting and sales and enrollment type of sales strategies to ensure that you're doing what you need to be doing, and you have the tips and tools and structure to really nail an enrollment call and or just closing a client. So you'll get that as well. Now, as I mentioned, and you can see here, the special pricing ended on August 27th, but quite honestly, because I just noticed that, and that's the wrong slide. I'm going to honor it. Quite honestly, I'm going to honor it because there was a new slide that had a new date and had new pricing on it. But but now I'll honor it. I'll honor it, and so you can get that special pricing. And if you want to talk to me about it, and I will share the special pricing in just a minute. And if you want to talk to me about it, see if it's a fit. See, whatever questions that you might have, and bring all your objections. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I need to talk to my partner, whatever the case. Bring all your objections, because those are just fears. Those are just fears. Those are just things that you want to do something, and yet you're like, And and rarely does it come down to the money. Rarely does it come down to the money. It's more like, because trust me, when you want something, you'll find the money, right? When you want, I hate to put it in women's terms, but when you want that new outfit, or want that pair of shoes, or want that vacation, or want that luxury spa day, you'll find it. So I would say the same here. But bring your objections. Let me make sure that I really understand what you might be dealing with, from a fear perspective, because that's all it is. That's all it is. And so the date that I would be offering this to is actually Friday night, September 10th is the date to end I guess the regular special pricing I had before. It was going to be my new special pricing, but the special pricing I had before. And quite honestly, and please forgive me, but I have so many numbers in my head right now. And sincerely, that is not the right, that's not the right slide with the right dates and the right pricing. I don't want to speak the pricing off the top of my head. I know you're getting $1,000 off. That much I know. But if you are interested, you can DM me or comment to me and let me get with you, simply for the pricing, if that's what you want, and or schedules a session with me. And that is the same link. I'm using the same link. Schedule a session with me, and let's talk. Let's talk your goals, your challenges, your opportunities. Let's just talk whatever and see if it's a fit. Not everybody is a fit. So let's see if it's a fit. Okay. And then I'll have the pricing by then. So you can schedule a session there. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So let me know if you have any questions about accountability. Continue to post, comment, shoot me a DM, whatever the case might be. Let's make sure that you have what you need in regards to really understanding accountability, so you can embed it in your daily practice. And trust me when I say your business, your mindset, your confidence, your results will change drastically. Okay. All right. So for everybody here, I will see you in the Powerhouse Mavericks group page, and we'll talk soon. Bye, everybody.